What is up, everybody? Jay Nell here with my UFC Fight Night. I believe it's 84 UFC London recap video. I hope you saw it. If you didn't, I know you heard about the main event. First up, I got 4 out of 5 picks. I was confused. I didn't know if there was 5 or 6 fights on the main card. Turns out there was only 4. So I called one of the prelims, but I got it. I got Marwan Amirkhani to beat Mike Wilkinson. I didn't see it though, so I don't know how he won. So someone let me know. Next up, I got this pick, although I think these were some real London-leaning judges in this event, and I'm not quite sure I should have got this first pick. I chose Brad Pickett to beat Francisco Rivera, and he did. First round, Rivera. These two came out swinging. This was a real fun fight. They were both reckless, except for the difference was Francisco would bring his hands back here. Brad would bring his hands back down to his sides. Trust me when I say Brad got the worst of every one of those exchanges. Francisco was landing harder, drawing blood, doing more damage. He was landing more often. Round 1, Francisco. Round 2, more of the same until Brad managed to get a takedown. Some judges give takedowns so much weight, and I think that's what happened here. He took him down, wasn't able to do much damage, doesn't know the Von Flute choke because he was in perfect position to get it because Francisco was holding on to the guillotine while he was in side control. Side control is one of the most underutilized positions in MMA, and it's frustrating. When you're in side control, you can block their hands, their arms with your body here, you can hold their knees, and you have free reign on their body. Knees to the body, elbows to the body, free reign. People don't do it. They don't take advantage of it. Neither did Brad Pickett. Instead, he was busy trying to adjust. He was busy trying to work for the full mount position, and in doing so, he got into half guard, which is a less dominant position than side control. Anyway, eventually Francisco managed to get up. I'll give round 2 to Brad Pickett, though, because he did manage to hold him down for a while, even though he wasn't able to do much with it. Next up, we have round 3. Brad is doing better with the exchanges. He's holding his hands up more. He takes him down, but for not nearly as long of time. Francisco's able to get back up. Not much. I believe even they were stood up at one point because Francisco basically was able to stifle him, and he wasn't able to do much. So they were mostly on the feet with the third round. And again, I think Francisco got the better of the exchanges. I gave rounds 1 and round 3 to Francisco. But Brad got the win. And you know what? He said if he wouldn't have got this win, that he was actually going to retire. So for that, maybe I'm okay with him getting the win. But still, these are some real London-leaning judges. Next up, I got this pick. I chose Tom Breeze to beat Keita Nakamura. And 2 of the judges gave him all 3 rounds. He didn't win round 1. So again, with the London-leaning judges. Round 1, he came out. He's a nice young talent. You wanted to see him get tested, which he did. He's not as good on the ground. Nakamura immediately was able to get him to the ground, going after submission after submission after submission. Yes, Tom was able to get out of a lot of those, but he was steadily on the offense or defense for majority of that first round. To me, round 1 goes to Nakamura. Rounds 2 and 3, more of the same, except for Tom Breeze did much better. He was able to reverse the positions more. He was able to get some ground and pound in there while he was on the ground. And on the feet, of course, he was just much better, landing better strikes, harder strikes, more jabs. So on the feet, we knew he'd be better. But he spent way more time on the ground than I think he expected to, which is good when you have a young, up-and-coming fighter with a lot of eyes on him. You want to see him get tested. You want to see him get tested, and that's what we saw here. So this was a good solid win for Tom Breeze. Who would you like to see him fight next? Next up, co-main event. I got this pick. I chose Gegard Mousasi to beat Thales Leites, and he did. I totally agree. First round, Thales tried to take him down immediately. And then by the end of the first round and the second and third, I think he just kind of accepted that he wouldn't be able to get him down and chose to fight standing, which he shouldn't have because that's Gegard's world. This was not the most exciting fight. Gegard even said afterwards, yeah, I took a risk in my last fight in the second round, and look what happened. He got knocked out by Hall. He was basically one-shotting him with jabs. He beat him from the outside, busted him up though, but again, he wasn't really aggressive. He didn't really go for it. He just outstruck him, outpointed him. He won the fight. Afterwards, we saw something we don't really see from Gegard. The crowd was booing, and he was like, yeah, come on. And then he did a little gesture that I wasn't expecting. I was like, you're getting your Floyd Mayweather on? One of my favorite quotes from Floyd is, I realized you can make money by being hated. So that's what I did. And I don't think that Gegard's doing it. I think he just had a moment. Who would you like to see Gegard Mousasi fight next? Next up, main event. I did not get this pick. I chose Anderson Silva to beat Michael Bisping. He did not, according to the judges. Now let's get into it. Rounds 1 and 2, Michael Bisping. I have no problem giving him that. Even though round 1 was extremely close, both men was Anderson was doing his little trickery that I've never liked it, but it was nice to see him look like himself again, especially at 40 years old. So he was making fun. He was like, "Come on a little bit." He was holding his hands down, dodging kicks and stuff. Doing Anderson Silva. Michael Bisping was coming forward. He had great footwork, great movement, had a high offensive output, which I knew he would because Anderson is a counter striker anyway. He has a very low output. He was pushing the pace, controlling the octagon, had him up against the fence. So they both landed big shots. I'll go ahead and give him that round. I have no problem with it. He landed the last big shot. So, that impression on the judges. Second round, more of the same. Anderson Silva was doing a lot of trickery with the hands. I don't really have a problem with Anderson backing up. To me, that doesn't signify him being in the weaker position because that's the way he fights, and we know that. So he'll come off of the fence with his big shots and land from there, which he was doing. However, at the end of this round 2, Michael landed the biggest shot, knocked him on his butt, got on top, some ground and pound. He ended the round that way. So rounds 1 and 2, Michael Bisping. Round 3, Anderson basically snapped out of it. He shook off the rust, got serious. He was coming forward much more often. Boy, did he have the power advantage. It seemed like one Anderson shot was equal to like 5 of Bisping's shot. He would hit him once and draw blood, hit him once, swole, hit him once, stumble him. Like the power advantage, my goodness. He was the one knocking him back up across the octagon. Michael was still coming forward, still trying to work his offense, but Anderson was winning round 3 even before the last 15 seconds, of which we saw him land a jab, which knocked Michael's mouthpiece out. This is Michael's fault. He got distracted, started looking at the mouthpiece. So Anderson's like, okay, tried to go for a knee, didn't land, went for another knee, dropped him. This is like the last 5 seconds of the fight, and here's where Anderson made the mistake. He should have jumped on him instead of doing the walk-off knockout thing. He should have jumped on him, and Herb would have stopped this fight, but he didn't. And instead, the end of the round, the bell rung. But there was confusion. We had the corner people come in. We also had officials who aren't supposed to come into the end of the fight come in. The doctors come in. They're attending to Michael Bisping as if this is the end of the fight. Anderson's on top of the cage with his arms raised with a nice adrenaline dump there. That's key. This was a hot mess. Herb Dean is getting some blame, but I actually don't think he deserved to because from the jump, he's like, I didn't end the fight. I didn't end the fight. Fight's not over. Fight's not over. He didn't step in between. None of that. So I don't actually think Herb Dean deserves some to be getting jumped on the way he is here. There needs to be someone who can speak the language of the person whose English is the second language if they're in the main event. That way they could have gotten Anderson off that cage a lot quicker. Michael Bisping got like twice the rest that he should have got. So anyway, we go into the 4th round, hot mess. There's a groin shot, illegal groin shot from Anderson Silva. There's an eye poke from Michael Bisping. Now here's where I think Anderson may have lost this round. There was like a whole minute where Anderson's back was up against the cage and Michael was just teeing off. Here's the thing about Michael teeing off though. None of those shots was landing. In fact, throughout the entire 4th round, majority of his shots were just simply not landing. I watched the fight more than once. They're sliding off, or just simply not landing at all. But it looked good, and the crowd was going wild, and these are some of the things that can influence judges even though you're not doing anything. And if the whole round would have went this way, with Michael looking good but not doing anything, I would have been okay with the judges giving him that round. Except in between him looking good and not doing anything, Anderson would come back and land 2 out of 3 shots. And like I said, his shots were way more devastating. And then in the last minute and a half, he again nearly finished the fight. He landed some kicks to the face. Even the partially blocked one stunned Michael Bisping. He landed some big shots, some knees to the body. Everything stopped Michael. Dazed Michael. Blooded Michael. Swole Michael. So I'm sorry. I think the 4th round went to Anderson Silva. Or possibly you could split it. Draw. Possibly. But I think the 4th round goes to Anderson Silva. I think they're 2-2 going into round 5. And round 5 is Anderson Silva. All Anderson Silva. Michael was still in it. He was still coming. I was surprised he survived it, quite frankly. There was more kicks landed, more knees landed, more devastating shots against the fence. Him doing his dodging shot thing. But again, I think Anderson Silva won 3, 4 and 5. I do. Or possibly a draw. I'll accept a draw because round 4 was so close. But I can't give this fight to Michael Bisping. So I think I got 4 out of 5 picks, but reverse. I think I should have lost the Brad Pickett fight. Let me know how you did on your picks, any injury updates. Let me know what you thought of the Brad Pickett fight. And of course, let me know what you think about this main event. Who do you think Anderson Silva and Michael Bisping should fight next? If he would have decisively beat Anderson, I would say finally give this man a title shot, but I can't off of this. Sorry. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter where I have 15-second prediction and recap videos. Subscribe, like, talk to me, take care. Goodbye.